All right, doctors. How about a fashion show? So I mentioned recently that I was going to be doing a number of revisits to various Doctor Who lists that I've done over the years. However, there is one list that I need to do fresh for the first time, and that is I got to talk about the different outfits that the Doctor has worn and give my assessment of what I think are the best. I had to think for a while about how I wanted to present this because initially I thought I would just, take the iconic look of each of the doctors that we've had so far and just rank those. But the problem is, there were enough alterations and shifts and changes to the outfits of most of the doctors over the course of their time in the part that whatever outfit I picked, there would have been somebody in the comments like, well, this would have ranked higher if you'd use this version of their outfit instead of the one you did. So that didn't make sense to do. I never considered the possibility of ranking literally every single outfit of every doctor because I don't even know how many that is, but it's a lot. And some of them are different by tiny minuscule amounts, and I am not up for parsing that. I don't know, maybe in the future somebody can pay me to do that, but right now, no. So what I'm doing instead is I'm giving my top 10. Now, as I should always point out, when I do a top 10, which is not a comprehensive, it's not like there's only 10 outfits and I'm ranking them. I need to point out, just because it's not on this list, doesn't mean it's not good. There are actually many good outfits that I like on the Doctor that aren't on this list. Honestly, there's almost no outfit that I don't like at least a little. There's some that I like less than others, obviously. I managed to do a rank. But I don't really go completely to almost any of them. I'm not going to say none of them. But I've tried to get on board with Six's rainbow coat. I can't. I just can't. But anyways, here are my picks for the top 10 best outfits that the Doctor has worn. Going through the entire history, all things are possible. Let's see what we got. Number 10, the 8th Doctor, specifically in The Night of the Doctor. Now, the thing about the 8th Doctor is, I've always liked Paul McGann in this part. Even in the TV movie, which isn't very good, he's great in it. But his outfit felt, it felt like what it was. It felt like an American's interpretation of, he's British and he's kind of man out of time. Put him in this Victorian-looking thing. That'll work, right? I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of generic. But seeing bits and pieces of that outfit, things reminiscent of that original outfit from the TV movie, now beaten up, worn down, and getting the impression that he just has been too busy to change or clean his outfit in a long time, it felt like it spoke a lot about where the Doctor was at the point we see him in that short. And I liked it both as a look and as a storytelling detail. I dig that. Number 9, the 7th Doctor's outfit. And specifically for photo reference, you're seeing as he appeared in Remembrance of the Daleks. Now, at a couple of times, he had a different colored coat. He had a brown one for a little bit. I like this one best. I feel like the white does a better job of kind of obfuscating what is going on. Because here's what I like about the 7th Doctor. Or actually, let me back up. The 2nd Doctor, as much as I love Patrick Troughton, he was never really in consideration because his outfit, you just look at it and you're immediately like, oh, what's going on with you? Now, that works. It matches his characterization beautifully, but it's not an appealing thing to look at. What I like about the 7th Doctor's outfit is, at first glance, or at a distance, you could look at it and go, oh yeah, okay, that's fine. But the more you look at it, and the closer you get to it, you're like, wait a minute. Those pants don't really go with what's going on. What's with all the question marks? I like that it reads almost normal from a distance, but then gets weird when you get up close to it. I like that contrast. And in a way, that also very much fits the 7th Doctor. The view that a lot of the people who tried to take him on or tried to stop him had of him when they first ran into him was very different from when they got to know him. And I mean, that's often true of the Doctor, but with the seventh, it was a kind of a core part of how he functioned. And I like how that's reflected in this specific outfit. And I think it's the best one he had, and it works for me. Number 8, the 12th Doctor's outfit in the pilot. So this is the kickoff for series 10. Now, okay, trying to select an outfit for the 12th Doctor is a nightmare because I swear nearly every single episode it's a slightly different outfit. Like, he would use the same coat for big stretches, but like the shirt underneath it would change from episode to episode. Or he did have a couple of other different coats that he went through, but like it wasn't massively changed, but there were like little tiny tweaks and almost never the same thing. But I love this one. Can I be honest? Mainly because of the hoodie. I love the contrast of the waistcoat, buttoned up, still having that little bit of essence of him being more uptight as he was back when he started in the role back in series 8, but with the casualness kind of draped over that or seeping through it almost. I love that blend, and it feels, again, incredibly on point for where the Doctor is as a person, because I've talked about the 12th Doctor's arc and his journey as a whole, going from more tightly wound to relaxing and getting possibly a little too comfortable in series 9, and then in series 10 finding the balance. And I think visually that balance is here as well. He's still got a little bit of that uptightness, but there's just a more relaxed vibe mixed with it, and that's here visually, and that really works. Number 7, the 10th Doctor in the pinstripe suit with the coat. I do think it needs the coat. Not that the pinstripe suit is bad, it does work, but the thing is, sometimes the coat really feels like it completes an outfit. Sometimes the coat, we could take it or leave it, it works with or without. I think here it really does add a little something to it. I think partially because of the little tweaks that it does, along with a few other tiny details that actually boost this up a lot higher than it might have been otherwise. Because just the pinstripe suit on its own, it's cool, it's nice, I like it. But there's little things that are a little off that you wouldn't expect from somebody with such a well-tailored suit. He doesn't have the tie tight. The top button of his shirt isn't buttoned. It's like he got out of work and was like, get a little more casual. The shoes that he's wearing do not match at all. And honestly, the coat always has looked a little big on him. Not badly. Not like, that doesn't fit him at all, but just like, that's like a little too big. And it's that slight offness which keeps it from being too classically like, handsome man. Like, well, no, there's little things that are off, which, again, the Doctor should be at least slightly off in their appearance, however it may be. And these little touches contrasted against the tightness of the suit. I mean, the tightness in terms of how uniform the look is, and also the literal tightness of the suit. All the elements just complement each other really, really well. Number 6, the 3rd Doctor, very specifically in the Day of the Daleks. Now, I got to be super specific on this because there were a number of very, again, appropriate to this version of the Doctor, very flamboyant. There were a lot of sort of velvet coats kind of things. But this look, the red coat with the purple, because the red coat on its own isn't bad, but it doesn't quite do it for me. You bring the purple in on that, and it clicks way, way better for me. And I'm not a fashion commentator. I can't exactly explain why it does, but it's like the missing piece that I'm hoping for with most of his other looks. The only other thing that came close was like his first season in the role. He had kind of the more almost magician-esque look, but that wasn't quite clicking for me. And there's something about the way it's slightly shifted into this look. This just clicks for me. I just love looking at it. Number 5, the 13th Doctor, specifically with the red shirt. Now, I actually like both versions of this Doctor's primary outfit. And while I personally have a cosplay in the navy blue shirt with the rainbows on it, I think the red works a little bit better because it breaks up the colors. Because otherwise, with the other one, you've got the inner lining of her coat is a dark blue. The shirt, I mean, there's the rainbow on it, but the t-shirt is also kind of a dark blue. The pants, they're a lighter blue, but it's a lot of blue. Getting the red in there too, I feel breaks it up in a way that is just more visually appealing. And I cannot ignore the thing with the fact that her pants are, first of all, in suspenders that are a color that, like, why would you even have that color suspenders? And that the pants don't even get down to the boots. And the boots are these heavy duty things. It does reflect, again, what actually happened, going to a consignment shop or a charity shop or whatever it was and just grabbing what fit. And I like this look. I'm possibly slightly biased in its favor because I cosplay, well, not with the red shirt, but I basically cosplay this look, and maybe that's made me more favorable to it. I don't know, but I do like it. And I think this is the best version of it. Number 4, the 11th Doctor in the second half of Series 7. This was kind of funny to me when I looked at all of his outfits and realized I liked this one best, because this is the stretch of the 7th Doctor run, of Matt Smith's run, that I like the least overall. But it's a dang good look. I like the purple, and there's just a little bit more of a flair to it. While I like his Series 5 look, it does look a bit like, well, some aging professor out of college. And while the contrast of that with how young Matt Smith was when he first got the part did absolutely work, just as a look completely taken in a vacuum, it's like, it's a bit dull. But the extra flair of the colors, of the purple, of the coat being longer than just that jacket he started out with, it's just these little tweaks while staying absolutely true to the core essentials of the 11th Doctor's look, because bow ties are cool. I really, really like this one. Number 3, the Fugitive Doctor. So yes, I did put into consideration the War Doctor and the Fugitive Doctor. The War Doctor, ultimately, like, it functioned for the story, but I didn't really love that look. This look, I like a lot. And again, a lot of it has to do with contrast. I love how many buttons they are. I love how bold the buttons are, how much they stand out, that they are these metallic buttons as opposed to being a color that is meant to blend in with the waistcoat and with the jacket. I love that pop. But more than anything, I love that top half is very dark blue. It's a navy blue. Then we've got black on the bottom and with the shoes. But then these shots of color up here and in the cuffs. And I love that the cuffs, while they are colors that match and fit with each other, they're not the same. Slightly different colors on each cuff. And I think the way that those pops of color, again, sort of contrast with and break up the much more put together overall look, I think works really well. It's a very commanding look, which, for the way Joe Martin played the part, again, suits the character really, really well. I think this is just a phenomenal look, and I really hope we get to see more of it. Number 2, the 12th Doctor again. So yeah, this is the one Doctor who does appear on here more than once, because that was a possibility. But the thing was, when I looked at all the other Doctors whose appearances I do like and their variations, oftentimes the variations to, like, say, some of the stuff that's already on this list, they were either, I either thought they were inferior and I'd picked the best variation, and the other ones were far enough away they weren't also adding to the list, or the tweaks were so minor, it's like, well, that's basically what I am picking, so there's no point in putting that on here, even though if I were to rank every outfit, they would be close together. So I didn't want to do that. But the 12th Doctor in... I just keep finding new ways to praise this. World Enough in Time and the Doctor Falls. Now here's what's funny about this. This look is actually far more reminiscent of how he looked when he first started back in Series 8. That more tight and controlled and buttoned up, restrained look that I mentioned. I liked his addition of the hoodie and things loosening up. This look here is actually a lot closer to that more tight look. But there's one detail about it that, honestly, this sounds like it should be a minor thing, but it makes all the difference. It's the cuffs. It's that the cuffs are pulled out from the ends of his sleeve, the most that they have been in all the different outfits he's had, and they're unbuttoned. We've seen visible cuffs on the Doctor before, even, back to when he started in Series 8, as I mentioned. But they haven't come out this much, and they were buttoned, or they had cufflinks. Here they're loose, they're open. And there's a bit of a flair to that. And there's a bit of a uncontrolled feeling to that, especially the way that Capaldi physically acts in this part, and the way that not only those cuffs, but he has bandage on one of his hands, the way that this is used to emphasize things visually, from pulling attention to his hand being against that tree when he's holding back regeneration, to the way it draws immediate attention when he is pointing at the Master and Missy during that speech that I love so much. This tiny touch of the cuffs being pulled further out and being open changes so much about how the outfit feels, and it makes it work in a way it didn't when those were tight and buttoned up. And yes, possibly bumping this up more than it deserves, because it's my favorite story of my favorite Doctor in my favorite series of modern era Doctor Who. So, I'm not going to pretend that there isn't some kind of bias here, but I really did think I would put this below the hoodie look, but I looked at them side by side and I'm like, I actually like this more. I had to really think about why. And it does largely come down to this one tiny thing that shouldn't make so much of a difference, but it really did. It really did for me. And I did debate doing this version or the more torn up version that we see him have in Twice Upon a Time, which does work quite well as well. But I like this one a little bit better than when it's all beaten up in that one. So, yeah. You should have known I was going to find a way to put the 12th Doctor on here twice. Okay, not to mention the fact that, the sheer number of outfits on that man, there was always a good chance this was going to happen. Number 1. It feels cliche, what I'm about to do here. It feels trite. It feels obvious. But you know what? I don't care. 4th Doctor, his look in his first season, absolutely perfect. Again, these aspects that don't feel completely off, except for the scarf, which we'll get to. But, the coat, the hat that's a little too floppy, doesn't feel like it properly contains his hair. Maybe with the hair like that, he shouldn't even be wearing a hat, but he does. And it fits his personality wonderfully. But then the addition of the scarf that is impossible to miss. It's impossible to ignore. No matter what else you think of everything else he's wearing, that scarf grabs attention, and that scarf is iconic for good reason. The length of it, the flow of it, the pattern on it, it's perfect. And they did alterations to this look. He had slightly different, similarly long scarves for later seasons. I still like this one the best. When I think, what does the Doctor look like? Even though my favorite Doctor is a different one, I am way more familiar with the modern eras than the classic, this is still the image that comes to my head first. Given that, I can't put it anywhere other than first. Absolutely stellar, iconic look that you would not mistake for anything else from any other show ever. And I think it's the best. What about you? What are your favorite outfits that the Doctor has worn? Or what do you think about my ranking if you want to tell me how wrong I am? Either way, that works too. Drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon is how I am able to do this and keep the entire operation up and running. Any amount of support is incredibly helpful. But, there's other things if you want to support me as well. Like, share, subscribe. There's links to other things in the description, such as Twitch. I have a coffee now. Instagram, TikTok, all those things. I appreciate any and all of it, but you also don't have to. Because, my friends, no matter how you chose to get dressed up today. You are the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. Patreon shout outs. Thank you to Turok, Shane Ross, Oliver B., Melinda Walters, Robin Powell, Vernobulax, the Poodle, Edelon, Tracy Scrabbit, Dharma Michael Doyle, Vincent Paul Bartolucci, Angry Caspero, Adam Lefty Taylor, Robin Moore, Shayla Gourlay, and Bookworm. You can support me as well. Hear me mispronounce your name. Sure, I got some of those wrong.